وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. أما بعد. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Brothers and sisters, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us in the company of the righteous in this world. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raise us amongst the righteous in the day of Qiyamah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fill our lives with mercy and rahmah, as all of us are in the need of the rahmah and the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are on the 45th chapter of the book, Kitab Riyad-us Saliheen, and the chapter is Babu Ziyarati Ahli al-Khayri wa Majalisatihim wa Suhbatihim wa Muhabbatihim. Visiting the pious people, loving them, and adapting their company. We're up to the second hadith of the chapter, and the hadith is وَنَبِي هُرَيْرَةَ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُ عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أن رجلا زار أخاه في قرية أخرى إلى آخر الحديث. It's a bit longer hadith, but I'll just get directly to the English of it. This is a riwayah and tradition by Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, and the hadith has been reported in Sahih Muslim. Imam Muslim rahmatullah alayhi brings it in his Sahih. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu reports, and he mentions that the Nabi of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that a man, an individual, no one specific, but mentioned that a man set out to visit a brother in Iman, in faith, in another town. So a person A left their village, they left their town, and they traveled to another village to see a person, which we call person B. And while this person A, and this is, I'm not in the hadith, the A and B is not there, but just to make it easy, the hadith mentions that when this first individual left his town and was traveling towards the second individual, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَأَرْسَلَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى عَلَيْهِ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent upon that first individual an angel on his way, in the shape of a person, in a human being. And this person asked, person A, when he met this individual and asked, where do you intend to go? Meaning, where are you going? So this individual said, I intend and I have niyat to go visit a brother of mine who lives in another town. So the angel asked and said, have he done any particular favor upon you? Meaning, is there any money owed? Does he have to give you anything back? Is there an ihsan and favor that you have to return, and that's why you're traveling? He says, no, there is no favor, there's no returning. He doesn't owe me anything. And the only thing that I have is that I desire to visit him for the sake and for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the only thing that's there. At this moment, thereupon the angel that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent in the shape of a person said, I am a messenger from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning, I have been sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to inform you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you as you love him, meaning your brother, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That your muhabbat and your love for that person, where there is no other motive except that this is the pleasure of Allah, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also loves you. Few things quickly to take back from this hadith: the great merit of visiting Muslims for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is very, very important that we keep connection with one another. Not because we need something from one another, but be on a lookout for the need of one another. Not just because we hear someone is going through sickness or difficulty, but we should be there for one another at all times. And I've emphasized this upon a lot, brothers and sisters. The true mu'min and believer is that without someone asking you, fulfill their need. And you know what's the condition of your brother before he asks. Famous story of Sheikh Zakaria rahmatullah alayhi in Fazail Sadaqat that mentioned that a friend wrote a letter to his other friend and he said, I'm in a very difficult condition, can you help me? So he said, of course, come to me, I'll do whatever I can. So the brother helped him and he gave him whatever he could because he was his really close friend. So this person was so grateful, so thankful, and when the person who helped was seeing off his other friend leaving, he started crying and pouring. So the person who was in need said, I should be crying. I am in a difficult condition. Why are you crying? He said, I'm crying over the fact that you had to ask me and I did not know your condition. Why did a time come that I didn't help you before you even opened your mouth? Where was my friendship and love for you, not knowing that you were going in this condition? I should have been there for you before you even asked me for help, right? So number one, that our love and care for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for one another, is number one. And the bond of brotherhood in Islam sometimes becomes stronger of bond than blood in relationships as well, right? Of course, we cannot take away the bonds of blood and which Allah has given, but sometimes the bond of brotherhood for the sake of Allah exceeds all other things, all worldly interests, and therefore comes as preferences. And that's why Rasulullah said, amongst the 7 types of people who will find beneath the arsh and the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may Allah make us from amongst those on the day of Qiyamah, one of the 7 types of people will be those who love one another for the sake of Allah. They have no other motives. They don't want anything from one another, right? That's why the Nabi of Allah said, may Allah protect us, brothers and sisters. The Nabi of Allah said, a time will come that there will be people in my ummah that will be brothers in gatherings and enemies when they depart. Sahaba asked, Ya Rasulullah, how does that work? Your brothers in a gathering and your enemies when you depart. And the Nabi of Allah said, because they have needs from one another. So in front of each other, they will be brothers. And when they depart from each other, they will stab each other behind their backs. Meaning they will be all different. They will be enemies when they depart. So love for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And last but not least, the one who loves one another for the sake of Allah and has no other motives for the love, then the love of Allah is for that individual. And when Allah loves you, then Allah will take care of all of your needs. That's why, brothers and sisters, we love one another for the sake of Allah. And other than Allah, everything is makhluk. If you keep an eye on anyone other than Allah, then we are relying upon makhluk and creation. Yes, we are a source of help for one another. We help and support one another. But our meeting should not be for the reasons of benefiting from one another. Our reasons should be that we love one another for the sake of Allah. And if Allah causes one to help one another, that's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the basis of our meeting and greeting should be for the sake of Allah. That I love this person, I meet this person only and solely for the pleasure of Allah. May Allah give us tawfiq and ability to have ikhlas and sincerity in our lives and allow us to live our life according to the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi.